Hello, my name is Yaji, otherwise known as Anime Co, here on YouTube and on Instagram. Today, I want to go over everything that I knit in February, as well as go over a few plans and acquisitions. I also have quite a few acquisitions, so we'll leave all that to the very end. Before we get started, if you are made_by_Sadie, please message me as you have won the giveaway for my 4,000 subscriber giveaway. And please message me either through Instagram at antmade.co or through my email, which will be linked down below. And if made_by_Sadie does not message me by my next update, which would be my mid-month update for March, then I will pick a new giveaway winner for that giveaway. Now, jumping into everything that I made in February, all of the objects that I've already talked about in my last sit down video as finished objects. I'll of course have the pictures and where they fit in my knit bingo. The first object is Legume Tote by Natalie Oots, and it's Knitily on Instagram. And I also made the peanut size of the Legume Tote. This object fits into my knit bingo of making a bag. So I'm really happy that I was able to make this and give it to my daughters. The second item that I've made is Chun Beanie by Skinny Dippin or Skinny Dippin Alex, and this I made, I'm not sure for whom, I haven't gifted it yet, but this fits into the box of knitting from an Asian designer since Alex is Asian, as well as is my last object, which is Tuku by Saskia & Co, and this is a sample knit for Tea Cozy Yarn Shop. If you visit Tea Cozy Yarn Shop right now, you should be able to see it in the shop, and this Saskia & Co is also an Asian designer, so I will put this object in that box as well. I'm not exactly sure how many objects I will have per box. There's no limit. I just want to black out my bingo board at the end of the year, but I also don't know exactly where to put Tuku just because it was a sample knit, but I also want to highlight Saskia & Co as an Asian designer, so I will put this item into that box as well. And now we can jump into what I'm currently wearing, which is my first finished object since my last sit down video, and this is Prospect Tea by Tori Yu. Prospect Tea is currently in testing and is set to be released in mid-month of March, so March 20th-ish. I think the first day of spring is when Tori set the tentative release date for. So I will of course update you through my Instagram if you are interested in this t-shirt pattern. Before we get into any of the details, I want to also stand up and show you what it looks like. So this is what the tee looks like from the side. I have a tiny bit of positive ease, not a lot, but we'll get into that. And I love the detailing. The pearl ridges are really pretty with some of these detailings inside and the slip stitch detailing on the side, as well as some of the pearl ridges up here. I think that overall, I just really love how it came out, and I also really like how the back fits and how it fits as a garment. So I test knit the Prospect Tee in a size 2, and the sizing for this goes from a finished bust circumference of 34 inches all the way to 66 inches, and the recommended positive ease is 4 to 6 inches. I don't think I have 4 to 6 inches. I would say maybe I have 2. But I think that's because I sized down the needle size. So the recommended needle size for this garment is a US 4, a 3.5 millimeter needle, and I used a US 3, a 3.25 millimeter needle. When I swatched with the US 3.25 millimeter needle, I was on gauge, but I think somewhere, maybe because I was traveling down the line, it changed, my gauge changed, and I also think the yarn had something to do with it as well. So I made this t-shirt with Camellia Fiber Co. organic merino fingering in the color Camellia, as well as the Serene merino fingering in the color Grapefruit. And they are both fingering weight non-superwash wools, which is where I think some of that non-drape came in and things kind of tightened up. So that's where I think I lost a few inches, but I'm not really sad about how it fits. I'm really happy with the way it fits and how it falls on my body. However, if I was to make this again in a more drapey fabric, I know that the arms would drop down lower. I think the overall drape of it would be much cooler and maybe more fitting for the spring or summer, depending on where you live. Thankfully, here in the Pacific Northwest, it doesn't get super cold or super hot. And on a complete tangent, we didn't have any snow days here, and I don't think we're going to get any full day of snow here, which I'm kind of disappointed by, but it is what it is. And for the spring and summer, it also doesn't get super hot, so I think that this will be perfectly fine for our climate. And before we talk about the striping detail that I put into my garment, I want to also mention that I really enjoy the small attention to detail that Tori has put into designing this t-shirt. First, this is very similar to the Prospect pullover that I've also tested, but it's also different. I think the biggest difference is in the shaping. So for the Prospect tee, it is a boxy fit and it's all in the schematics. So if your shoulder comes down further down, then that's the amount of ease and the bust circumference that you'll have. So I think the larger sizes, naturally the shoulder drops further down on your arm than for the smaller sizes. And I'm really excited. I don't really have any t-shirt, any knit t-shirt that ends at this point in my arm. And originally I was kind of skeptical just because this is one of the areas of my body that I'm a little more self-conscious of. And as I get used to the idea of having a t-shirt that fits at this point in my body, I'm more excited about the idea, and also I don't find that I mind it as much. And also for this garment, it is a 16-row repeat, but you're never purling 8 of the 16 rows as you would in a normal stockinette where you would knit 8 and purl 8. You are purling fewer just because all of the details that are going into the purl ridges are all done on a purl row, so you're actually knitting those. And so I thought that was quite smart, as I did for the Prospect pullover as well. And as with the Prospect pullover, I really like the knit bind off as well as the details to the collar and the ribbing that went in and that Tori put in. I think that it really finishes off the garment really well. And now to get into my stripes that I've put in, I decided to add in stripes every 16-row repeat, which is why it's slightly cropped on me, because I wanted to end it at this point with the stripe. But if you don't put in any stripes, then you can really end it after any of these purl ridges, which means that there is a lot of control in the exact length that you can get your garment to. And I'm just really happy though that mine turned out the way it turned out. I really enjoy the stripes, especially these low colored monochrome stripes. And before we get into anything else, before I lose my train of thought, I also want to say that this goes into my knit bingo of knitting a monochrome project. I'm so happy that I was able to use just 2 skeins. So I used 1 skein of each fingering weight yarn. I think that for the Camellia colorway, I used 90 grams, and for the grapefruit colorway, I used around 85 grams. And so I'm really happy just that I was able to get away with using 2 skeins of the fingering weight yarn and to make a t-shirt that I know that I will get a lot of use out of during our milder climates. So if you are interested in just more details about the stripes and how I place the stripes, then I do have a project vlog where I go over all of that. And I also really enjoy just the fact that you can modify it to be either completely all different stripes, or you could do it where you have stripes just in these ribbed purl edges. And there are so many ways you can of course modify the pattern to your liking, and I'm just really happy that I was able to test knit again for Tori and also to get a beautiful garment out of it. And moving on, the next finished objects I have are my last 2 finished objects for the month, and they are Fruit Sweater Junior by Skaberglade Maria, and this is the first item that I finished off of my Make 9, so I'm really happy. I was able to make 2 of these, so this is the 1 to 2-year-old size, and I also finished the 5 to 6-year-old size, but my daughter is currently wearing it to preschool, so I don't have it here to show you. And for this, I made it with Folkalana Pernilla, and this is a yarn that my younger sister brought back for me from Norway, and it was on super sale, so I think 1 skein only cost around $3 USD. And so the whole sweater project to make 2 sweaters for my kids, including items that I've only used 5 grams of, I think overall the cost was less than $25. I would say it was probably around $21. And so I think this is probably going to be the most cost efficient garments that I will ever make this year, and that feels good as well. However, I do have a lot of these yarns left over, so now I have to think of other projects that I can make with this. So for my older daughter, I paired these 3 colors together, and these are in the colors 254 Coral, 368 Eucalyptus, as well as 829 Malva, and these are the 3 colors I paired for hers. And then for my younger daughter, I took out the pink and did it in the red. So this is in 317 Cerise or Cherry, and I'm really happy just with how it came out. I think for my younger daughters, for the 1 to 2-year-old size, I used the same orange and green throughout. And then for my younger daughter, I needed 1.5 of a 50-gram ball, and these balls have 175 meters in it each. And then for my older daughter, I needed 2 and 5 grams of a ball, so 2.1 balls. And I'm just really glad that I was able to get some good use out of these yarns that my sister brought back for me. At first, I didn't know what to do, and then I'm really excited that I was able to get really cute garments out of it. So the yarn, I think, is considered a DK weight yarn, but it is 175 meters for 50 grams or 350 meters for 100 grams, which I would consider more of a sport weight. But I think that after I blocked it and everything, it knit up fine. I did go down a needle size. So I went from the recommended needle size is a 4.5, a US 7, and I knit my garment in a US 6, a 4mm needle, and I think that was the right call because even with that, I do see some parts where it is a little looser in terms of just the gauge as well as the stitches. And close up, this is what it looks like. I think it's so cute, especially the red strawberry is very cute, but my older daughter, of course, wanted a pink strawberry, and I think my younger daughter would have preferred a pink strawberry as well. I will flip this inside out and show you what the inside looks like as well. So this pattern does go from a 6 to 12 month size all the way to a 12 to 14-year-old size. And so I think it goes up all the way to 37 inches. And although this is a baby knit, it does have a few rows of short rows. So the back stem is slightly longer than the front. And I think when it's on, you really can't tell. And this is how I decided to do my floats. On the back, I carried it up, and once it got too long, I just made sure to trap my floats. I also left my floats to be quite long. I think the most it goes is maybe 5 stitches in between, and for an adult garment I would say that's not long, but with kid fingers, sometimes when they're putting it on, their fingers do get caught in the floats, but I thought that that was a risk I would take rather than having to trap my float every 2-3 stitches. But if I would say that probably trapping your float every 2-3 stitches is a smarter move to do. I just couldn't be bothered. And I did do some ladder back jacquard for the larger stem portions, just because when I looked really closely with the sample photo, I did see some of the trap floats peeking out of the main fabric. I didn't want that to happen, so I decided to just do some ladder back jacquard up here, and then for the rest I didn't catch my floats, and this is what it looks like. And I think that there isn't any puckering, the floats seem fine, and I'm really excited that this is now completed. And naturally, the 5 to 6 year old size, the size 4, did take a lot more work or a lot more knitting than the size 2, the 1 to 2 year old size. When I compare it side to side, I will try to get a picture of it depending on how ruined it is when my daughter comes back from preschool, but also a picture of them together so you can kind of get a size difference. And I think that the overall pattern was basically the same for both, and I really enjoyed making them both. I'm really happy I made the smaller one last because it just made it go that much faster. One of the things that I really don't like doing is knitting small sleeves like this, because you can't knit it really even on 9-inch circulars. You have to use magic loop, and because I didn't want there to be any uneven tension, every single row I did almost a wandering loop, or a traveling loop I think is what you call it, but a magic loop style. So I would pick the cable, the cord out at random places, and then just knit what I have on the needles, and then pick it out again. And so the tension points where the cord would be was always changing, and it wasn't always just on one. It didn't always just have half the stitches on one side and the other side, leaving there to be some laddering in a certain area. So I'm really happy that I did that, and I think that was the right call for my tension and my technique. And when I picked up for the stitches for the underarm as well, I just made sure that the seeds or the flies were matched up to the front, because it doesn't matter as much in the underarm. And then I decreased as the pattern told me to, and I'm really happy just with how the decreases look, how the length looks. My thoughts on kids garments have changed somewhere down, I think since last year, where I am knitting things more to fit them currently, just because I don't know how their style or what their style is going to be like next year. So when I knit the 1 to 2 year old size, I was debating on knitting size 2 or size 3 for my younger daughter, who is turning 2 in April. But I decided to just knit for her size currently so that she can wear it now. And if she gets tired of it, that's okay. This took 2 days to make, and so I think that it will be okay if she doesn't get that much wear out of it. I'm just really happy with how it looks on her currently right now. So if you are thinking of making the Fruit Sweater Junior for your kids, I highly recommend it. I really enjoyed making it other than the sleeves as we talked about, but the sleeves really didn't take that much time. I think that some people have modified this pattern so that they have the stem and then they have it in an orange color. So it's more Halloween themed, and they just double stitch some faces onto it, which I think could be really cute as well, since I have a lot of this yarn left for if they want that in the future. And one last thing is, this is how the seeds look. They do have some pearls in it, so it does stick out a little bit. That's not something that I completely thought about or saw when I decided to make this pattern, but I think that's a really cute detail. And again, I would highly recommend it. And next we have works in progress. This is my Esther jacket by Petite Knit, and I have yet to add in sleeves, but sleeves is all I need because I am done all of the ribbing and all of the button band. I haven't blocked it or anything, which is why it looks like this, but I did decide to put in some dark buttons, and I'm really happy with the way it's coming out. It's very woolly, and the yarn I'm using for this is Yellholt Ulspinderi Triple in the color 43 Nougat, and I have maybe 90% of a ball left, as well as a new ball, and so, or a new hank, and so I'm definitely sure that I will be able to get my sleeves out of it without having a lot of extra yarn left over. If any, I think maybe I'll have a few grams, maybe 10 to 20 grams left over, because my sleeves tend to take maybe 80 grams if they are cabled, 80 to 90 grams, so I'm sure I'll have enough yarn, but I'm also happy I won't have a ton of extra left over. I really enjoy all the patterning for this, and I am knitting mine in the third size, the size small, and I am using the recommended needle size, which is the US 8 5mm needle. This is a buddy knit with Ursula from Old Witch Knits on Instagram, as well as Tashi from Tangles and Starlight on Instagram, and Stitches and Starlight on YouTube. I think that Tashi has some hand issues, but I know that Ursula is further down the road than me, so I have a bit of catching up to do, and this will be a finished object very soon. I really only have one work in progress, but I also want to get into acquisitions as well as plans. My acquisitions kind of meld into my plans, and I have quite a few acquisitions, and so I want to go through them. I know last week I said I was quite happy because I didn't have that many acquisitions, and then I made some orders, as you'll see, and I think that I'm really happy with everything that I've purchased, so we'll just go through them quickly. So first, I have the Sandisgarn Tin Silk Mohair in the color 4018, and it's in the color Scarlet Red. The reason I purchased this is because I want to pair it with my Please Fleece worsted yarn in Sakal and Salmon, since I've already wound this yarn up. This I use for my Wabi Sabi cardigan, and this is a very orangey reddish color, but it leans more orange than red, and I wanted to pair it with a red to make the reds, to bring out the reds more in it, to make the melt the ice hat, and I'm really excited to make this. I saw a person wearing the hat when I was just on my couch knitting. I just looked out the side of my eye, and during the weekend one time I saw a person walk by, and we live in a residential street, so it's not like I live right next to shops or anything, and she had the hat on, and I was so happy to see her wearing the hat, so I'm thinking maybe I should make the hat and wear a hat, even though I don't wear hats very often. So I'm really excited to use this. And my next acquisition I also got at Tea Cozy Yarn Shop. So the Sandisgarn Tin Silk Mohair I got there when I was handing in my tuku, and I also picked this up. This yarn I bought specifically for a test knit, but it's a test knit that can't be shared yet, so I wanted to share with you the yarn that I bought and the colors that I'll be using before I get started on the project and can't show it to you. So I bought Sandisgarn Duo, which is one of the recommended yarns, and this is a 55% wool, 45% cotton yarn, and this is 115 meters, 450 grams, so I would say it's a DK weight yarn. And I bought 6 of the color light beige, which is 3021. I think I overbought some of this yarn just based on the meterage that was provided in the pattern, and I'll have a better gauge on how much I'll need, just because it is a vest, so I don't suspect that I'll need all 6 plus some of the other colors that I've gotten. And these are the colors I plan on using in the vest. The vest has large chunks of stripes or large chunks of color, so you could choose to do it in one color or in multiple colors, and I'm choosing to do it in multiple colors. And so the colors I chose are 6841, which is called Dusty Aqua, 6862, which is Deep Aqua, and 8072, which is Forest Green. So I have 2 of each of the colors, and I'm really excited. I think that I'm going to plan it to be this way, where each of the stripes go in this color order, and I'm really excited just to get started on this and to test the pattern for my friend. And another exciting acquisition that came in is this, which is Amy Sure Makes Comfort Silk Linen, and this is 50% merino wool, 25% linen, and 25% mulberry silk. I have the color Lavender Fields as well as Milk Tea. And I think I'm going to end up striping this just like I did in the Relax Tee by Amy Sure, but with that I used the Wandering Flock Cotton Lino. And I'm really into stripes recently, as you can tell, so I plan on probably striping these 2 to make probably a t-shirt, but also I think this would be beautiful in an accessory as well because it's very soft, and I think it will be very drapey with the silk linen content. And so I'm really excited with these 2 yarns, and they are 400 yards each, and so I know that I can get away with a tank top, a t-shirt, or I can make a larger shawl with these 2. And finally, I have some acquisitions from Garntopia, so I want to share that with you as well. So specifically for Garntopia, I had a gift card for Christmas from my sister, and to make the duties worth it, plus the shipping cost, I want to place a larger order, and I placed an order for June as well as Stella, and I'm really happy with all the yarn that I've purchase that's come, so I'll show them to you. And as I said last time, I'm very into greens and blues right now, so I have 8 of the Camaro Snuff Nug, which is a 55% baby alpaca, 35% organic cotton, and 10% fine merino wool. And this is in the color Moss Green 7995, and it's a really pretty green. It just calls spring to me, so I'm just really happy but even when I look at this, so I'm really excited to use this. And next I have Sandscarn Cashmere, and these are 25-gram balls. This is in the color 9564, and it is matcha. And this is 100% cashmere, 25 grams, and 110 meters each. And so with this, I will be making my mom a Sophie scarf. She wants a thinner scarf that she can wear during the winter, and she can wrap around once and tie it once. So I think this will be enough for that, and I'm really excited to make this for her. She's the one that chose this color. And the next green item that I got is Raumagarn Plum, and this is 70% mohair, 30% polyamide. And the reason I got this yarn in particular is because I've been looking for a mohair or something to hold this with, which is the Briggs & Little yarn that I got in Heritage in the color Meadow Green that I've shown you. And I thought that this mossy green would be really pretty to pair with it, even though this is a lot more punchy and bright. I think that the mossy green color also will just kind of bring it down a little bit, and I wanted to get this and try this Raumagarn Plum since I've never tried a kid mohair or mohair with polyamide in it. So I'm really excited to use this, and this is also called Moss Green. And I think it's really interesting that the mossy green of the Snuff Nug and the Raumagarn are completely different, but also I've just been loving greens lately, as I've said so many times. Greeny blues is where I'm really drawn towards lately. And then of course for Garntopia, I couldn't resist. I bought 6 skeins of the Yaholt Uldspendery Handverksgarn in the color 34, which is clear red. And I've been really into reds as well. I think I've just been into brighter colors lately, and I think that has to do with just knowing that spring is around the corner, and Lunar New Year and Valentine's Day and all of that wasn't that far ago. And so I'm really excited to wear something with this bright red and make something in a bright red. I don't think I have any garments that are in a bright red, and you can definitely tell when I place the clear red of the Handverksgarn next to the Peace Fleece worsted that the Peace Fleece is way more orange than the cool dark red of the Handverksgarn. So I'm really excited to use this. And the last yarn that I've got were these, which is Sandscarn Pure Gint in 2016 Sun Yellow. And this was on super sale. I think it was 30% off or something. And I know I can get pure Gint at Tea Cozy Yarn Shop, which is why I didn't order the other quantities I need for it, but I plan on using this in my husband's Be Together sweater, and that's by Will's Knits, and I want to make that as his sweater for this year, and it has really cute bee motifs, and so I need a yellow for that, and I thought that if this is on sale, then why not? And I'm just really excited. I think it's a really nice cool yellow, and it's very bright, very springy. So overall, having this package arrive and these be the colors in the box, I was really happy opening it, and it just really felt very flowery, very spring, and as you know, I love flowers, and so I was really happy about this. And the last thing that I got for myself from Garntopia are a bunch of buttons. They have a lot of different selections of buttons, and they are quite reasonably priced, and so I just decided to pick out some random ones with some random sizes, and so I will definitely let you know as I use these. I don't really have plans for them yet. And before I let you go, I also want to talk about two plans that I have coming up. The first is for the sheep sweater by Rosa Pomar that we have a knit along going for starting March 1st. It's not too late. If you'd like to join, please send me a message on Instagram, as we have a little group chat of around 5 people going on Instagram. And so this is Zola Pastoretta, and this is in the color Neat, and this is a fingering weight yarn that I bought at Ritual Dyes. And I'm going to pair this with it, which is La Bien Aimée Merino Sport, and this is in the color Ponyo and Sosuke. And I think even though it is a superwash and it is a sport weight yarn, that I will still be able to use these together and steek it. And so for this sheep sweater, it's knit bottom up, and then you steek for the armholes as well as the neck, I think. But I also plan on making it into a cardigan or a jacket. I think I'll just get more wears out of it that way. So I plan on steeking the entire thing, and I'm willing to take the risk, and I think it'll be fine. So these are the two colors that I'll be using, and I think that the sheep are going to be really cute in this color white. And my last concrete plan that I have that I want to show you is Harvest Flower Pullover Sweater by Jessie Made Designs. And I'll be copying Stephanie of Edible Thoughts Makes, as I said before, and I'll be cutting the steek for this sweater as well. For this sweater, I am using cone yarn from Good Yarn, and these are really, really thin cones. They're 1,500 meters for 100 grams, so it's just a thin strand. And I bought 500 grams of this main color, which is in Sweet Cashew, as well as 100 grams each of these other colors. I wanted to show you that I have them now all wound up, and they're very pretty. I have decided to actually go with 6 strands instead of the 5 that I was originally thinking, and I think it will give me a worsted weight, a DK to a worsted weight gauge, and that it'll be really pretty knit up. And so this took a few hours to wind up because I had to wind up each of the 6 or 5 balls separately plus the one on the cone, and then wind it all up again just so that I didn't have any tangles, or it would minimize the tangles, just because it is a color work project. So I didn't want to deal with having 12 balls or more going around at once. And so in this case, then it would only be 2 colors. I'm really excited with how this is already coming along in terms of what the colors look like and what the yarn looks like. And I cannot wait to get started on this project. So that's all I have to share with you for my February wrap up / my springtime plans and acquisitions. I am so excited for all of these projects, and I cannot wait to just knit it all. I'm really excited to work with more color and everything, and it really does feel like spring is coming. Although, as I said, we didn't get any snow this year, so I am kind of bummed about that. But I know the grass is always greener on the other side, and a lot of people on the East Coast are very, very sick of snow days. So whatever the case may be for you, I hope that you are enjoying your hobbies and having a lot of fun making. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you can, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Again, if you are made by Sadie, please message me.